All right. So someone in my Discord had I was messing around beforehand. Let me unpause. Oops, oh god, it's a complete mess. Anyway, someone in my Discord had the cool idea of a ship that flipped upside down when it saw a submarine and would just shoot underwater. But I fear there may be an issue. If we really quickly set a PID, I don't know if this is how this works, but if we set a PID to maintain a roll of 180, theoretically, this should go upside down, right? But in practice, I have a feeling once it goes over, once it goes over, let me slow all of these down. It'll try to get here. Now it's no longer 180. Once it gets right to 180, right? Now it's negative 179. So it wants to go up to 180. So it starts rolling up. Okay, now it's at 179. Now it rolls up back to 180. Now it's negative 179. And it'll keep doing that over and over again. If we build a sideways boat that rolls to 90 degrees when normally, and just rides at 90 degrees, and then flips to negative 90, then we might be able to make one that can control itself. After a little bit of dinking around, here it is. Let's see if this will work. Oh. All right, so it's holding already pretty steady at negative 90. If we flip it to 90, amazing, fantastic. From the Depths has automatic propulsion where it'll try to balance and align the propulsion. Does this work? If I hold K, does it rotate how I want it to rotate? H. It doesn't appear to. Automatically assigned to nothing. What? Okay, see? Sometimes it wants to be pitch, but most of the times it's nothing. We need this to be a yaw propeller, meaning, unfortunately, the breadboard is going to have to manually flip every one of these as it goes. That is very unfortunate. Oh, this is really irksome to build on, huh? I could just do the whole thing and then prefab it onto this. I might. It's kind of nice to actually be able to know where shit's going, though. I'll just do it like this. I'll just survive. Building it sideways. We want the center of mass to be right about here, unlike a normal ship, because this thing's gonna have to flip. The advantage is we're having an active self-righting system on such a small ship, so it'll be fine anyway. To have a higher center of mass. But it's just gonna be really weird to build it. I think we just put the turrets high. Have big turrets up high instead of small turrets built deep. Except, I almost forgot. We need to use APS weaponry. Because there's this handy little thing called the supercavitation base, which makes water-based slowdown no longer exist. So if we're using APS weapons, they can just cut through the water no problem. You know what's weird that I just noticed? The bore evacuator is perfectly sized for the front to be a normal barrel and the back to be a heavy barrel. So it's meant to be like a transition. But if you look at it, kind of looks ugly as sin as a transition. A 1 meter absorber on each is enough. Interesting. That makes me worry that this is going to be a piss-weak weapon. I'm going to do something a little bit weird. I've been kind of getting a little deep water guard core with this design, and I want to keep it up. We're going to have, like, metal plates covering the back of this, but these little windows so you can peep in and see the actual internal components for no particular reason. I'm going to use beams here to match the grain, and the grain doesn't match at all. So the grains at least go in the same direction. We're going to have a kind of weird rudder that juts out above the water, just so it's still functional while we're flipped. This thing's unfortunately going to require more engine power relative to a thing of its size because of the stabilizers. I'll make it fit, though. You know what? I kind of like the way this looks. Maybe I do that, but with a slightly different color. Something looks weird about this. I feel like, you know what I want to do? Where's the bomb chute? At this angle, it's really good looking. If I just bump it up a little bit so it's still visible, but not through. That's good looking. I like that. I want like a 1/2 offset to 2, 1 meter to 2 meter offset with a triangle back. Sadly, that does not exist, so I'm going to have to make it. Oh, that looks weird. That looks weird, but it is correct, so screw it. And now we just gotta change this color. And now since this raw wood up here takes paint differently than this one, we're gonna tweak this a little bit and probably give it a little bit more red. And that should make it look pretty much identical. Decorations are the best thing that happened to this game in terms of hull shaping ever. Okay, now we've got the really awkwardly placed. I put this here to smooth this out. Now I'm thinking I hate its location too much. And I'm just gonna remove it. Is this a bug? Why do all the 3 different tanks look identical? Why is my game... Okay, never mind. I won't question it if you're doing that. Alright, let's... How high does this go? Oh my god. I didn't know this thing had full 90-degree range of motion. That's handy. You know what? I like the way this looks. The weird, like, HUD-ish superstructure. The 2 little guns. There's some charm to it. Now it's just time to make it, you know, function. Now we're going to have a nice little interior on this, but there is one issue. This thing is built sideways, meaning Rambot will not latch on correctly. So that means we can block off this doorway with this railing. Do some impossible to stand in places, make it look nice. Because, you know, we're not going to be able to be in here anyway, so... screw it. Let's see how well we can navigate this as Rambot. Can we get out? Well, no, of course we can't get out. It's sideways. Nope. It's just not enough. This looks dumb as hell with Rambot on the side. Oh, what a weird boat. Now, I seem to remember. I hope it's not, as I remember, but I do seem to remember the PID not being changeable in here. Specifically the set point. Yep. Thankfully, we could just plug and play. Honestly, this is probably easier to just plug and play this. So A should basically be... God fucking damn it. So A should basically be... A on this one A should be if no target fucking. Alright, so we want the A to this. Alright, we want the A in here to be if there is no. So, not B or the range, A, or I guess the altitude is less than 0. We'll do -10, because some boats set, like, with the center of mass significantly below the waterline. So it says negative altitude. There we go. There we go. All right, so now it's working perfectly. So now, let's just set it to God mode. If we add a submarine, let's go with the P-quad. Now it should be normal. Once the P-quad dives, though, it rolls right over and flips upside. Nope. Did it lose track? I think it lost track. All right, now it actually... Nope. Is it just too weak to flip correctly, or... Alright, perfect. Now if we give this thing some targeting and some GPPP, it should actually start fighting. It looks so stupid. The upside-down boat. And thankfully, it was actually really hard, but I balanced this just so that it can successfully sit like this without... What did they do to the P-quad? The P-quad, like, flaps its tail now. Oh my god, you got a huge glow up. That's awesome. Anyway, enough beaming over that. The 2 eyes appears to work amazingly. Now we just need to flip the yaw controller when we're going forward, if it's upside down. So like right now, it doesn't control yaw at all because the game is, for some reason, not programmed for this boat. Hydrofoils for pitch control? In fact, you know what? Let's just have them at a constant angle the entire time to keep the nose up. Rather, here's what we're gonna do. If we're upright, it's 45. Otherwise, it's -45. But... Here, let's fix what I was doing. I was thinking of too many things at once. I was ahead of myself. We're also going to have a second one. If B, A, otherwise -A. Because if we're going backwards, so if B is greater than 0, we're going to go forward as normal. But if B is not greater than 0, we flip it. So it's actually working when it goes backwards. So now here we have the 2 eyes. The flipping, very small, very reasonable boat, which should be able to deal with submarines. I'm now thinking perhaps this was a poor weight class because small submarines are not incredibly common. But let's just see how it deals with other things near its cost. Not controlled by AI. Oh, I put it on a spin block instead of a turret. That's what happened. I was wondering why this thing wasn't functioning at all. I genuinely cannot remember the last time I've ever done that. Alright, it's finally locked on. How much damage does this main gun deal? 0, in fact. Not much. It continues to miss. There we go. That's a good hit, finally. Oh, and there we go. We're within range to torch it. Flamethrowers, I imagine, are, like, just insanely overpowered at this, on these cheaper ships. Yeah, oh my god, the flamethrower. Annihilated it. There just aren't submarines as cheap as it, so screw it. Let's give it a fair advantage. And have 2 of them. And right away, they both flip. That is really funny looking. But it's perfect. And now it's a... This is actually kind of a cool look for a ship. With like a substructure instead of a superstructure. Oh god. Oh dear lord. Oh Jesus. Oh Lord Jesus. What happened? How many missiles does this thing have? What? What? Oh, those are giant cluster missiles. Don't tell me it can't function underwater or some stupid... No! Why? Oh, because it's using like a gas pilot. Man. Man. Oh, flamethrowers just don't work underwater. But why not? So what? This just does nothing. Oh, that's so disappointing. What? That's just doing no damage whatsoever. Not even lighting a fire. What if we have a shitload of oxidizer? Like an insane amount of oxidizer. Nothing. That is so obnoxious. Even if you add the oxidizer, it doesn't continue burning underwater at all. Okay, we're gonna need a different weapon system. So that flamethrower turret was a bit over 5k. But unfortunately, the particle cannons, this is not a particle cannon, the particle cannons are also pretty expensive, so we'll figure it out. Ah, it's so nice when I'm sitting in the chair and don't realize how fucked up this vehicle is. So here I've got little PAC turret on the back. Let's see how well this thing can stand up. Okay, so that's not too much power. If we add some alloy plates here, it'll make it a tiny bit more armored. More importantly, it'll make this midsection more buoyant, so it will try to float closer to it. And probably stop sinking to the bottom of the fucking ocean for some reason. I don't want this to be a submarine. Oh, I don't want it to be an airship either. It's so weirdly floaty always. Does this look any better? We want it with paint 9, actually. You know what? I think I kind of like that. With a little bit of added texture on the top. Yeah, I really like that. I actually really like the way these things look on the roof. Now, it's time to test it once more against the Remora. Here it flips. Holy shit. We're back to normal function. Mostly. We also need to remember to get rid of that range limit on this one because it's no longer a flamethrower. Oh, we're so close. There we go. We're starting to land hits. Oh, yippee, we win! Not that this was a fantastically exciting fight, but, you know, we won! And both of them flip back to normal and go about their day. Well, they really won't because of how horribly mangled each of them was. But, you know, I was kind of hoping that this would be able to be applied to a bunch of ships, but it looks like not at all, because this was actually really hard to make function. Not because of, like, the concept or the breadboards being too complicated. Literally just because it took so much care to balance it. So just balancing the ship to be able to go upside down and right side up was a task. And you have to build it sideways. And it ends up being unstable anyway on both ends. But, you know, I'm actually really satisfied with how the ship looks. Now, if it will start broadsiding at any point, that would be fantastic. Oh god, the follow camera is awful because it's sideways. The follow camera's sideways. It's okay. I forgive you. You look cool enough. But yeah, as always, leave a like or comment if you liked the video. This was a suggestion from my Discord, so you can check out my Discord in the description. You can leave suggestions here too, but I'm much less likely to answer them. You can also check out my Blue Sky for just random shit posts. And yeah, thanks for watching and have a nice day.